big issues there is, where does the energy come from to power up a huge indoor farming operation? So in the middle of the Arizona desert, the sun supplies everything. They don't grow food at night. So they don't use grow lights. They don't have to. They get an abundant amount of sunlight. And because it's double-skinned glass, it's insulated from the outside. So if the temperature goes to 120, they don't care. And in the winter, if it goes down to -10, they don't care. It's still 75 to 80 degrees inside of their inside of their horizontal greenhouse, all right? No one's ever done this up, okay? Because there are engineering challenges as well as some economic challenges, but it's mostly engineering. So, but if you grow food indoors in these big buildings, well, how much energy will it consume versus, in fact, how much might it even generate by the parts of the plants that you don't eat? You can recycle that and get some of that back at least. So that was the 5th year's project for the students. I'm no fool. I don't know the answers to these questions. You know, I parasitize their brains. And, oh, I was going to say, the reason we should behave as a single species and not as 194 different species is because we are a single species. And our brain is basically engineered the same way, regardless if you're an Aborigine living in the middle of the Australian desert, or if you're an IBM executive up in Rye, New York, trying to find out what the next alternate power source might be. The fact is that if you could connect those genomes together into a single thinking unit, that's 6.7 billion inputs with about 100 trillion neuronal connections per input. I don't care what the problem is. I don't care what the problem is. It's solved in a minute. It's not solved in an hour. It's not solved. Now, I can give you examples of where that actually works on a small scale. The International Ladies Garment Workers Union. It's a wonderful example of a cooperativity among a group of people that agrees at a common end. We are going to behave together. We'll take pay cuts, we'll get pay raises, but no one loses their job, and we'll all produce clothing as the end of the day. That's our job, and that's what we're going to do. The engineering company of Arup, A-R-U-P, is a fabulous example of how to behave. There are, I don't know how many engineers they have on their staff. They're in 37 different countries. Every engineer can access any other engineer's problem. And there's a blog, and they go on the blog and say, you know, I don't know how to do this. I didn't have this in school, or this has never been encountered before. Help. And, you know, 15 people will go on the blog and say, oh, you know, and you know what? The next day the problem is solved. So they never say, I can't do that. That just can't be done. Aha, it'll never fly. It'll never float. It'll never, you put that word, it'll never blah, 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 blah. Next, I want somebody else sitting here. I don't want to talk to, it can never. I want to talk to, when can you, that's what I want to hear. When can you build me a vertical farm? And so now I've heard that from about 8 places. 4 of these places are for real. And one of those places will be first. And could I tell you which one that is? No, I can't, because I don't know yet. And if I did, I would tell you. So we have a lot of money sitting out there waiting to get involved in this, because they've sort of ignored the concept of profitability, and they're concentrating on need. And I think profitability will follow need. So when people see how good their food is and how abundant it is and how readily available it is, the switch will, I would never eat anything grown outside. I can't trust the outdoors. I can't control it. Everything you want is controlled indoors. And I think marketing will be a no-brainer once it starts.